Okay, here we are. We're live. Hi, guys. Happy Sunday. Um, how's everyone doing? I'm a couple of minutes late because I had I had another update for the program that I used to go live, and so I just had to do that really quickly before coming on, just so that there were no issues. Hi, Leah. Happy Sunday. Okay, you guys are gonna kind of trickle in, and I'll do my little chit chat. Lots happening. Well, at least it feels in my mind lots happening because this week is March break for my kids, so they're home. And hi, MJ. Hi, Patty. MJ, oh my gosh, I have to respond to your email. I'm sorry, I'm not ignoring you. I have to respond. Thank you for popping up here and saying hi. Otherwise, probably would have forgotten about it. I used to be really good at responding to emails, and all of a sudden, I don't know what happened. I think I just got extra busy. No, I was very disciplined, busy or not. Anyways, hi, Joanne. Hi, Jamie. Yeah, so lots happening between. I think now I've finally gotten into the groove of the watercolor classes, the weekly videos, and then our Sunday lives, because as I mentioned, I want all of them to tie in. So for those who are doing every single one of them, they get the most out of it. And for those who are just kind of focusing on one, they're still getting something out of it. And so they all tie in and are related to each other, as opposed to me just going on a whim. I feel like painting this today and just kind of going off track. So yeah, so I think I've finally reached that stage where I'm like able to make sure that they kind of all associate in together. And I'm thinking metallic paints are really, really in. I have gotten a ton of requests from a ton of people for metallic inspired art, and I'm seeing it pop all over. So I'm not sure if this is the Google or Instagram algorithm that kind of just shows me metallic stuff because I've been doing metallics. I'm not quite sure. Hi, Jill. Hi, Jetty. Okay, I'm gonna switch my my camera screen to the to my table. So give me 1 second so you guys can see that really quickly. Where's OBS? Here we go. Transition. There it is. Okay. Can you guys see this? It seems to be frozen. Is it frozen again? Oh my gosh. It's frozen, isn't it? Yeah, it is frozen. Let me, but you guys can hear me. Kind of still freaked out by the last time when you guys couldn't hear me or couldn't see things and was frozen. Let me undo this quickly and re-put it in, because like I said, I had an update for this program, and I feel like every time there's an update, it spazzes out, and I need to re-input and kind of just reconnect the camera to this program. So give me 1 second really quickly, and then you guys can see my table just as soon as I'm done here. But yeah, let me know in the comments if you guys have done this past week's video, because like I mentioned, we're going to be doing something related, or we're going to be piggybacking off of that video. So I hope you did that. I hope you did the blending. Did you find it fun? Let me know in the comments, as I am quickly making sure that this is in place for you guys. And then I'll read your comments like as soon as I'm done this. Where's this? Flip, vertical, rotate. Oh my gosh, so many options. High transition. No, I want send to back. Okay, you know what? It's okay. It's okay. We're not gonna over that. Okay. Yeah, so no one's written anything in the comments. I guess you don't have any commentary about this week's video, or maybe there's the lag. in YouTube. Oh, good. I'm glad. Because the blending, it's something new, but at the same time, I feel like when I'm doing a video, it should be mostly about here's what you can do and here's how I do it, as opposed to just blending, which you could probably do it by yourself as well. But I have been getting feedback that people are finding it useful. This is blending that we did, if you missed it. And yes, so we did the cadmium red light, cadmium medium lemon, quin rose, and cadmium medium lemon, and we got these beautiful like mauves and pinks and corals. Oh, we also used white, so I'll be using white as well. So we'll stick with this palette today, and then for the greens, I used. Let me just get my white nights off to the side here. For the green, I used a nice olive green. Yeah, it's called olive green from White Nights. And that's what that looked like. So if you didn't get a chance to do it, I hope you do take some time and do this quickly. But yeah, we'll be piggybacking off of what we did here for today. And yes, there is a sketch involved. I saw Leia's comment before I quickly went on with my spiel here. So let me just move this again so it's out of the way and you can see my sheet. All right, this is my sheet. Got all this stuff here. Okay, so quickly we're gonna go over my supplies before we begin. As per usual, I am using my set of White Nights 36, and I just mentioned to you we're piggybacking off of this week's video, and so we're going to be using the quin rose mixed with cadmium medium lemon, and then also the cadmium red light mixed with the cadmium medium lemon, and get our cute little hues. And then for the greens, we're going to be using olive green, and I might just mix a little bit of umber or maybe Mars brown. Let's just see where the flow takes me. I'll let you guys know for sure. And now finally for our paper, I'm using a 9x12 sheet of the Stonehenge Aqua Cold Press. And then for brushes, I'm going to be dominantly using my Princeton number 8, Silver Black Velvet number 8, and then the Escada number 2 for tinier details. I'll also keep the rigger handy. I'm not sure if I'll use it, but let's just see. If I get inspired, I might. I've got my 2 little bowls of water ready, and I will also be using this palette here by Lisi Arts. It's the same palette I used in the video from this week, and I've got some leftover paint on there, so we're just gonna kind of run with that. And what else? I think that's it. So really quickly, this is what we're doing. I need you guys to do a really rough sketch on your sheet of a kind of like a rectangular sketch of a cup. It can have a handle, or if you just choose to sort of make it like a vase, just leave it like a vase. I'll leave that up to you. It's super light, but yeah, it's very basic, so there's not a lot of drawing skill involved here. And yeah, so the plan is this. We're going to be using our dominant brushes to create our florals exactly like we did in, where's my sheet? Oh, this week, right here. And we're going to paint these pretty blending florals either, yeah, in kind of like in a circular shape above this cup. And I want to make it more, I'm not making it proportional, so they're going to be bigger and just like flowing around. And then for the cup itself, we're going to be doing a nice black and white stripe, very basic paint, minimalistic style, yeah, stripes. And then for the handle, I was thinking we could do a gold, I'm not sure. I might not even do the handle. Let me just see how things pan out. And yeah, that's it. Okay, so let's begin. Take a sip of my coffee. Hi, Usha. Okay, so we're gonna start blending. I'll use my silver black velvet for blending this first color set of colors. Let's start off with using or blending some Quin Rose. I love Quin Rose. I don't know what to tell you guys. Like, I just keep gravitating towards it. So here we go. Some Quin Rose. And it's going to be a mishmash, seriously. So I'll try and tell you guys what I'm doing. But we're using these three colors and we're going to be mixing it up along with some white and getting different variations and hues as we go along so that they all complement each other really well. I'm going to get some of that cadmium medium red, put that on here, just like a nice bright orangey red. And then finally, let's get some of that lemon. And put that in here. Hi, Kathy. Welcome. I wonder if you watched the last video, which is what today's live is going to be about-ish, just so we get some practice in. So now I'm getting some white and I'm just going to mix that over here. So now this way I can sort of just dip and mix and paint along. So what I'm actually going to do, how I'm going to begin this session is by getting some of the white on my sheet and then going in with this second brush and then getting one of these colors and kind of blending it into the white. And let's just see what happens there. Now, if you are someone who kind of gets carried away when you're painting like me, and you want to give yourself some boundaries in terms of how, like, where you want to end painting your florals, I would just do a really rough kind of draw in like a boundary. So that's what I'm going to do really quickly. And then this way, very light so that you can erase it off later, okay? I know it's super light right now and you can't quite see it, but you don't really need to see. I would encourage you to do your own little boundaries here. Okay, so getting some of that white, I'm going to get a little bit of pink. I know I said we're just going to do white, but I'm going to get a little bit of pink. So it's got quite a bit of water on my brush here, and we're going to start off by doing, again, the florals from this past week's video, okay? So starting off loose and light, I'll do like three pink flowers here. So like one here, one here, one here. Placement is important. So I'll do one at the top here. So using the tip of my brush, pressing down, doing one petal, doing another petal, leaving some white space in between, dipping the tip of my brush in water, doing another petal across, getting a little bit of the cadmium on my brush, and adding another petal here, touching that first petal that we painted, adding a little bit of that cadmium on this side here too. Now I'm going to get a little bit more of that pink. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm just going to swipe it this way so that it looks like it's one of those petals that are curved. And then for the center, I'm just going to use the tip of my brush to kind of add these little lines pulling towards the center. I want to leave as much white space as I can. We are not getting rid of white space because white space is our friend. We're going back, dipping more water, getting some of that pink again, and painting another flower here. And then you want to push all your color to the center, okay? And at this point, I'll just get a little bit of the yellow, the cadmium medium lemon. I'm just going to add that to the center for my little tiny strokes. And this is what I mean by we're using this palette of 4 or 3 different colors. And we're going to do a mishmash of the colors so that they all blend in nicely. So there's that lemon with the pink. Let's do another one here. I'm going to get a little bit of that lemon mixed in with the pink on purpose this time, and doing the rest of this flower in that color. Perfect. And now from there, we're going to go into the cadmium medium and some of the lemon. So I'm washing off my brush, and I'm going to mix these colors in between here. So join them here, mix them up, get a little bit of white in there too, so we can get this nice peachy orange. And this area is still a little bit damp, so I'm just going to add a stroke there and then add another flower happening here. And again, we're alternating colors, so feel free to get more of your darker hue as you kind of progress and do your next petals to complete your flower. Same thing here, because this is still a bit damp. Actually, I should probably do it at the top here, so I'm going to do one here. And then getting a little bit of that lemon, and I'm adding it to the center. Push this down so you can see better. Perfect. I'm going to get some of that cadmium medium, mixing it with some of my white, and I'm going to add some here. So literally at this point, we are just loosely creating these flowers, leaving a lot of white space in between. It's just your simple 5-petal florals, and we are relying on the mixture of colors for the, I guess, pop factor here. Okay, now at this point, I'm going to get a little bit more of that lemon mixed in with my cadmium medium, mixed in with my quinacridone rose, and I'll continue painting a couple more of these florals here. And at this point, what we're doing is we've got our main flowers, so we're just doing light strokes to kind of maybe indicate that this flower is just facing upwards and it's in the back. Same thing over here. I'm going to do one here, and I'm picking spots that are still damp. If you're noticing or not, I'm not quite sure. And I'm just adding a couple of strokes here and there to kind of give it that nice blend, make it seem like there's some blending happening from back to front. Adding a little bit more of that darker cadmium red here, and let's do some more of the cadmium red florals here on this side. Getting some of that lemon to mix it in here. And another thing to sort of keep in mind and just be mindful about is the sizing of them. Now we've got our main big florals, but try and go smaller for the rest perhaps. And let's do one here. Add more lemon in this. You get some more of that white. Mix it in with my quin rose. And let's just add some lighter strokes in the edges at the top here. And if you see my hand go off screen, what I'm doing is I'm just getting a little bit of water on the tip of my brush to get a lighter hue. Same thing here. Let's do some on this side. At this point, I'm just kind of getting different mixtures of color just on the tip of my brush so that when I go back in to paint, I'm getting a nice mixture in my florals or in my flowers. Okay, I'm gonna get my number 8 Princeton handy. I'm getting some of my green and we're going to sort of start doing some loosey looking leaves over here. Now I've kind of kept it fairly open because what I want to do is get some nice leaf, the green kind of blending in with some of the flowers as well. So I've added some, and we're going to do some right after we do the leaves. So this area is still a little bit damp. So what I'm going to do is just add like a tiny stroke indicating a stem, and then paint in a leaf. Same thing on this side. It's nice to kind of have it in between flowers. Again, notice the white space I'm leaving in between, guys. So now you're getting a nice blend of this happening within the flowers itself. You can have some kind of just twirling outward. I'm going to have some at the top here. Some in between here. Overlapping our mug. Put some over here, and like I mentioned, it's nice to kind of throw in a little bit of a different hue as we're painting. So what I'm going to do is get a little bit of umber on the tip of my brush, and this way when I'm going in to do another leaf, it's a slightly darker version of what I have. I'm trying to blend it in with what we've just laid down. And then I'm just kind of adding a little bit to the edges, wherever it's damp really, so that it gives another nicer gradient kind of bloom effect. Oh, we have someone from Nova Scotia. Hello. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is revert back to my silver black velvet, and I want to do some more of these flowers, and then immediately we're going to be using the number 8 Princeton to kind of get more leaves happening in there. So we're mixing more of that Quin Rose onto my palette. And this time we can go darker with our flowers because we've got a lot of light looking florals here. We can go slightly darker. And so let's start with some over here. Dipping the tip of my brush in water. I'm going to quickly get some strokes in there. And now, because this is nice and damp already, let's get some leaves. And then quickly going over to another corner to do some of these flowers. Let's just do one here. Again, notice the amount of white space I'm leaving. You want to leave white space just so you can get some nice loose effects happening. I'm gonna add one here. And I'll just do a nice little twirly kind of leaf happening on this guy here. Get some nice kind of blends on this end. And then let's go to the Quin Rose and get one in here. Fabulous. And then switching immediately to get some green. And I'm just doing some light strokes in here. And this way you're also kind of, you're not only getting a blend, but you're also kind of separating the florals from one another. Because now you can see when one flower starts and the other one ends, or vice versa, sort of. Yeah, so I'll do one here. And let's do a couple of strokes in and around at the top, because you want some to sort of just make it seem like they're leaves peeking out. Switching back to get a little bit more of that Quin. I'm going to go get some flower here. And then again, we've got some nice twirls there, so I think I want to get some over here. Just like that. Dipping the tip of my brush in water, getting some more green here. Let's get some on this end as well. I'm getting some of the orangey hue again, and I'm gonna get some white. But remember, I'm not washing my brush off, so it might end up looking more pink or different from what you guys have. Let's get some, I want to get a little bit more lemon so that we have that orangey lemon as well. And that's a nice, beautiful mango sort of color. So here's some of that. This way we're getting a nice array of different hues. And feel free to kind of add random little strokes in between so it looks like there's some flowers peeking out from the back. Little pops of color, which are pretty. Let's get some green happening in here. And again, notice I am touching the flowers that I've just laid down just so that I can get some nice blending of the green with the with these pretty colors. Same thing on this side. So we're kind of making this a nice, robust, full looking flower, I guess, bouquet. But we're also getting in some nice white space to kind of have it breathe a little and then just be almost abstract looking in nature, but not quite. The colors are speaking for themselves. So at this point, I think because we've covered up like a large amount of space already, it's kind of nice to kind of just go around in certain areas and just add random strokes. So again, it can look like it's either flowers from peeking from behind or tiny buds even. This spot is still empty. I'm still thinking which color should go there. I think more of the no. I'm gonna mix some of the pinky hue with it because there's a lot of orange happening there. There's a lot of pink happening here. So probably this should be more of a pastel-y kind of floral off to the side. I want to give it good balance so it doesn't look too pink heavy on one side or too orange or coral heavy on the other. And then again, going back in with some green and kind of adding our nice cute little green strokes. And having a nice blend of color because it is damp. Feel free if you want to get like two different versions of green. What I'm doing is adding some umber to my olive green. And get some little dancing movement happening too. So just do some stems that are maybe falling outward like that and just kind of trailing off. Not quite attached to the stem itself, but maybe some leaves just kind of floating. And you can add some water to it because this way it's a lighter version of compared to all the green that you have in between the flowers. I won't do any more on here just so we have enough space to kind of go in and add our nice black stripes. So at this point, I'm just kind of looking to see where I can add more of these green foliage before we move on to just kind of highlighting our flowers some more. I'm just filling up a couple of spots here and there with green. And by filling up, I mean just adding a couple of strokes. Again, it's very loose detail that gives good separation for your florals and everything doesn't look like just one mishmash. Yeah, I think that's good enough. So now the next thing we're going to do is do our little highlights. So for the ones that are, oh, and we won't do the highlights for all of them. And by highlights, I mean just going in with a little bit more detail for the centers. So for some, we can do the darker version of the color they are. And then for the others, we can just kind of fluctuate between using like a sepia or a black. And then again, it gives you a nice pop because we've got some really nice, pretty bright colors happening. So, mixing some of my cadmium onto my palette and getting some of the yellow in there too, because I love how that mixture, the color we get from that mixture. And we're gonna go ahead and add, just using the tip of my brush, I'm just lightly adding these strokes in the center. And very sporadic, uneven strokes. They need to be thin, but like in terms of sizing or height, you can have them all over the place. Getting some, we've got some there, let's have some over here. And what this also does is, besides giving it some nice contrast and definition, it makes these flowers pop out from the rest. You can even do these details using your metallics if you want to. I'll do one. So we've got 1, 2, 3. Do one over here. And you can see how I'm not kind of being intentionally precise or anything. It's very loose, it's very light, and yeah, not a lot of real skill needed. So this is why I've been saying that these videos, the last 2 videos that I've done on YouTube, are very beginner friendly. So if you're new to watercolor, you figured out how to sort of mix your paints, and you're ready to kind of create something pretty and actually intentionally make something, this would be a great start to not only practice, but also, I guess, get into the groove of loose style. There we go. Perfect. Liking that. I'm going to get a little bit more of the Quin Rose. And let's do some of the flowers that are more Quin Rose-like in color. Let's do 1, 2, and I think the others can be, we can use a sepia to kind of highlight those. Actually, no, let's not use sepia because we are using black for the cup or the vase. So let's use black. More Quin Rose here, and what did I say? I was doing this one right here. Yeah. Okay, so I think now we can do the rest in black. Or let me just do this one in more of a yellowy, muted tone. I just swiped some yellow onto my brush. That's why I said yellowy muted, but it's looking pretty orange to me. Okay, all right, enough of that. Let's do the black that I was telling you about. So for this, okay, so I had my number 2 handy for the leaves and for the centers, but it seems like the number 8 worked really well for me, so I'm just going to continue using the number 8. And I'm getting some of my black directly from my little color cake. Make sure you don't have too much water on your brush if you're using a bigger brush. So just take a paper towel and dab so excess water comes off, because what's going to happen is as you're painting, you'll have pooling happening and then it doesn't dry really well. So got some just on the tip of my brush, and we're going to go ahead and add tiny little detail, just like we've been doing so far, onto the smaller, darker flowers. Or just any of the smaller flowers that you want to highlight so that it actually looks like. And you know what? I'm going to zoom in. So you can see it better. There we go. Just remind me to zoom out when I'm painting the base. Hi, Katie. Hi, Renee. Did I say hi, Renee, already? I think I did. I can't remember. Okay, so we've got two there. This is also all about making sure that you don't have areas too dark heavy, I guess is what yeah. So I'm gonna move over here and get some on these flowers over here. So kind of spread it out, so there's nice balance to the visual at the end. I've got this tiny guy here, so I'm going to just lightly add some detail there. I'm also doing tiny little dots for these ones. And then finally, so we've got there's one here at the top, which would be nice to highlight, I think. Perfect. Got some there. Let's do a little bit. I know this flower of mine here seems like it's kind of sideways, and so I'm just going to do this so it looks like it's protruding sideways. And so we've got some here. Let's do one at the, oh, here's one in the center. Fabulous. And I did say one at the top. This guy here. Oh, lost video. Give me a second. Coming up. You should be able to see it now. There we go. There we go. Sorry guys. Usually my my battery lasts longer, but for some reason it seems to be getting lesser. It's typically like an hour. Okay, so I think this is enough. we're gonna move on to doing the bottom half. I'm just doing this one guy here, because looking at my artwork on screen just kind of gives me more idea of where I need to touch up and where I don't. But we'll circle back if I feel like I need to do anything else. But so now we're moving on to the base, and so for the base, I'm just using my black, and I'm making this to be a black and white stripe mug. So feel free to kind of paint it whatever color you want to, really. I'm using black, and I'm going to get this palette here and just mix some black. And oh, I see Laura's here. Hi, Laura. Okay, got some black. And again, using the tip of my brush, I am going to lightly try and get as much of a straight line I can. And if it's not perfectly straight, which it won't be, that's okay, because again, we're doing this very nice, loosey, kind of simplistic piece of painting here. So I'm going to start off, I'll start off from right below the leaves. And try to loosely go around them. Leaving some white space in between is fine, so we're not overlapping on the leaves, that's why. And here's the next half of that, extending there. I gotta be extra careful so that my strokes are not crooked. I'm going to slightly sit straighter on in my chair here. Now, if you find it easier to maybe draw in your lines before you do this, just so you don't mess up, that's okay. Go ahead and do that. I am going to wing this because I'm willing to kind of take the risk and just see what we land up with and not be bothered by it in the end. Okay, so there's that. Here's another one. Again, notice I'm like, they're not the perfectly painted in lines. I'm kind of leaving a little bit of white space in there as well. Great. I'm just making these slightly thicker. I think slightly thicker is better than thinner, than the thin lines. Okay, and let's do some all the way down to the bottom as we intended. Continuing on, You want to highlight by adding some darker black or whatever color you're using in the areas where it's damp. You can do that before it dries up. Yeah, perfect. That is that. Great. I'm not going to give it a shadow or anything, but feel free to give it a shadow if you want to at the bottom. I'm just going to leave this as is. For the twirly handle, what do you guys think? Should I paint the handle? Should I leave the handle? What do you guys think? Tell me in the comments. I kind of really like how this has turned out. It reminds me of Kate Spade. Anyone else reminded of Kate Spade? Waiting for comments. While I'm waiting for comments, okay, paint the handle. Okay, so yeah, let's paint the handle. And I know I said gold, but how about we just do it black? Should I do it black or gold? Okay. All right, you know what? I'm gonna leave it as is for now. I do want to focus in just a little bit more on adding some looser like dots on the amongst the flowers here, and we can either do it in the black or we can pick the green. And yeah, I think we'll do black because I'm seeing the stripes now, and this is how your painting typically evolves. I'm seeing the stripes, and I feel like if we add a couple of like black dots or even like a spray, we'll get that nice polka dot effect. And I think that polka dots and stripes always are a winner. So I'm gonna get a little bit of these little black dots, and you know, you can take them as, I don't know, buds or whatever, and just add some in between in these areas here. I'm just gonna do the center for this guy as well. And then add a couple of dots overlapping on the green. I'll do some over on this end here. Just a little bit over here. And then some on the top here. Enhancing this one here because it looks pretty gray compared to the black we had painted it initially. And I'm going to do some over here at the top. And then we're like almost done, guys. I'm just doing it more at the bottom here just to sort of get that darker feel happening gradually towards the bottom. And then we've got some at the edges here. We don't have any here, so I'm just going to add some kind of trailing. All right, and that is it. I don't think we need to do anything else. Outside of if you feel, and this is optional, if you feel like you want to give it some metallic highlights, I think you totally can. But otherwise, I think this is fabulous as is. Let me just zoom out so you can see better. There we go. Yeah, and that's it, guys. So hope you guys enjoyed this. Did anyone have any questions at all? And for those who've joined in a little bit late, this is what we were trying to sort of mimic. And this is from this week's video on the YouTube channel. And this is more practice. Anyone have any questions at all, or we're good? Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Renee. Thank you, SK. Awesome. Okay, I don't think anyone had any questions. Thanks, Eileen. So I hope you guys try this. Please, please, please tag me on social media, whether it's Instagram or Facebook, or just DM me what you've done. I love seeing it, seeing your work. You're welcome, Usha. And yeah, if you're new and you like stuff like this, please consider liking this video and subscribing. All right, guys, have a fabulous, fabulous Sunday. I'm going to take off. I'm expecting family over soon, and I got a lot of cooking to do. So, thanks so much, and yeah, have a wonderful, wonderful Sunday, guys.